so homeschooling is just a different way of learning for children other than the regular traditional school. So some people will just bring in their children sometimes just to do what they would do in school at home. But for me, I look at homeschooling as something more holistic, teaching your children day-to-day activities and incorporating it into their school life. So for me, I have 2 children. Currently, I'm homeschooling one actively. The other one is young, but because it's day-to-day learning, that's still part of homeschooling. So I have a 7-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So the 7-year-old, we are doing education and just regular day-to-day learning. So the reason I wanted to homeschool was because I wanted to be part of my child's initial learning and their formative years. And I had encountered some people who had homeschooled, not too many. The community was quite small when I was growing up, but I knew a few people who had done it, and just watching how they were happy and how their structure of their day looked like, I was like, that's something when I become a parent I would like to do. So I did my research and I started to just plan for it, and when we had our first child, then we started to do the homeschooling. So now we do education, which is what people will do in school, and then we do other learning activities. It can be farming, woodwork, painting, just to, let's say maybe something like a 3D learning for children so that they are exposed to more than just education. So for me, that's what homeschooling is. It is just exposing children to more than just education. Yeah.
So what was the reaction of people close to you when you first thought of homeschooling your kids?
Okay, I think it was mixed reaction. When my husband and I spoke about it, it was something we were both aligned on. And I stepped back from my career at that time and I decided to be the primary teacher. I'm not a trained teacher. I just had a passion to want to be part of my child's learning experience. So for the 2 of us, we were aligned. For our parents, they had mixed reactions. They didn't know too many people who had homeschooled. They didn't know how we would do it, especially because I was not a trained teacher. And just how will the child socialize? How will they interact with other children? Will they be able to learn well? So it was a mixed reaction, but I think the more we continue to do it, people continue to appreciate it more and more. Yeah.
Okay, so what made you to homeschool? Is it something that you had thought about for long? Is it something that you grew up wanting?
I think subconsciously it's something I had grown up wanting. I don't think I had actively thought I want to do homeschooling. But every time I try to think back to when that idea may have come to my mind, there's a time when I was in primary and my mom had lost her job, so she was at home for a bit before she moved to a different role. And I really enjoyed the experience of having her at home to do homework with us, to teach us different things, to run errands. And I felt like I grew so much as an individual in that time that she was home. So I think in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to be present for my children in that way. And the more I just did my research, I was like, okay, maybe the way I can do that is by being a stay-at-home mom first. And then slowly I just transitioned into the thought of, can I be able to homeschool? And yeah, when I looked at it, I was like, it's possible. And I met a few people who had done it, and it looked like something that I was able to do. Yeah.
So with the mindset that Kenya is not so popular with the homeschooling aspect, is there any difference between how homeschooling is conducted in Kenya and probably maybe in the Western?
Okay, I feel like maybe in the West, most people, I feel like it's more acceptable maybe because they're more open-minded. For us here, I feel now we are starting to, the community is beginning to grow quite large. There are many people who have homeschooled their children until upper primary, university level, and now they start to, educate people more about it. So I feel like it's starting to grow. And for Kenya, our role or our law is actually to just provide our children with a safe environment for them to learn. It doesn't speak against or for homeschooling, but it's just very clear that your child should have access to education. So for that reason, I think homeschooling can also work. It is working now because people are getting more educated, getting more information, and the people who have done it over the years are able to educate people more about it. And I think the community is growing quite large now. I'm currently part of a group that it's a school where you can register your homeschool under. So then you have the guidance of teachers in case you need, you have the community in case you have to do activities together, and because there are trained teachers who are there, they're able to work with you if you're the parent who's doing it. So with such small bodies that are forming, the homeschooling group is growing quite large in Kenya.
Just on the small bodies that you've mentioned, is it more of a school pooling kind of thing? You like bring your kids together for schooling together? Or?
Yes and no. It depends on how you plan on doing your homeschool. For me, I do my homeschooling by myself, so I teach my child by myself. But in the event that we needed to do a group activity, it's easier to, because now you're part of a community, you can decide, I want us to do this together. And it's easy to pull people together. So you can pull together to do activities. You can also do learning pods where you can rotate and say, for 2 days a week, they'll go to this particular family to learn together, or this particular group. The next time they do it this one. Then if it's field trips, they organize and you're able to go for field trips. I think maybe a few months ago, my son was able to go to the train station as a field trip, and another time they were able to go to the meteorological department. So it's easy to do it as groups, and that's why it's really important if you're a homeschooling parent or you have a homeschooling child and you have a teacher teaching your child, to be able to be part of a community, so that then your child is able to do different activities with other people. So you can do it as a group, you can do it as an individual, and that's the beauty of homeschooling. It's quite flexible. You can just go with it as your family is growing or whatever needs that you have in your home. Yeah.
That in mind, is there a particular curricula that you guys follow, like a stipulated guide that maybe at this particular time or year, like the way like in convenience schools, they usually have like grade 1, grade 2. Like, do you guys have that?
Yes. So homeschooling, the beauty about homeschooling is you can use any curriculum. Your child does need to be following a particular curriculum so that then you can, gauge their learning process. So you can homeschool in any curriculum. You can homeschool in CBC, you can homeschool in the former 844, Cambridge, American system, any curriculum that you want. You just need to be able to know what level your child is on and then continue to teach them. And the beauty about homeschooling is you may find your child is grade 1 level in science but grade 2 level in English, and you can just continue in that way because they're learning differently in different areas. So you can do whatever curriculum that you feel suits you best. And also the beauty of homeschooling is you can mix more than one curriculum. So for us, we are doing ACE, which is Accelerated Christian Education. It is an American curriculum. It has schools, regular schools, traditional schools here, and a lot of homeschoolers also use it because it's very easy to teach and also for the child to understand. Now, being that it's an American curriculum and I'm a homeschooling parent, I'm able to borrow from CBC so that my child can learn things that are, for his environment, which we are in Kenya. So he's able to learn things that are based in our community and in our day-to-day activities. So you just have to pick the curriculum that you think best suits your child, and that can be your primary curriculum, and then you can borrow from others. You can use up to even 4 curriculums, it doesn't matter, so long as you're able to gauge the learning process of your child. Yeah.
So I feel like at home, homeschooling, the homeschooling aspect, is there like a specific routine that you guys follow, that when you wake up, like you see how like convenience schools, you have to be maybe in class for maybe the first lessons maybe at 8 in the a.m. and then maybe the classes end at 5 p.m. Do you guys also have that while at home? Keeping in mind that, it's kind of free.
Yeah. Well, I know some people will just do it just free and, today we'll start school at 10, then the next day we'll start at 8. But having structure is very important, even in your day-to-day life. So it's important to also have structure even as a homeschool. So for us, we do start school at 8. The difference is we do not go all the way to the end of the day like most schools. By around 1 o'clock, we are done with our lessons, which is classwork. So we'll sit and have our classwork. We have an X amount of time. We're going to do this number of books, and then we take a break, then, move to the next, then have lunch break. And then in the afternoon, then we can do other things, whether it's going to be learning a skill or doing sports or something, doing house chores, running errands. That's part of us doing homeschool. So it's really important to have a structure because these are children you're preparing to also be part of the workforce. So if they don't have a structure growing up, it becomes hard for them to be integrated into society. Yeah. Okay.
So on that still, how's the education, how's the examination body? Like for instance, do you also do KCSE, KCPE, or how do you examine your kids?
Okay, So you are able to have your child do the exams that and allow them to get into a university or college. What you do is you register your child as an independent student. So there are some schools that have that option where when it's time to do exams, you can register your child as an independent student. There's examination centers, so you can decide. And also, again, the beauty of homeschooling, my child doesn't have to only sit for KCSE only. They can sit for KCSE, they can sit for their Cambridge exams, they can sit for the ACT exams based on, you know, the curriculums that I've exposed them to, so that then they're able to, you know, just have more opportunities to different schools. So yes, they do sit for the national examination. If you're planning on letting your child go into progress into high school, in traditional school, then they will have to sit for the primary exam. If you plan on continuing into high school to homeschool them, then it means that by the time that they're about to get into university, you have to start looking for an examination center or a school that will allow them to register as a private student and then prepare them for the exams as best as possible. And yeah, they can sit for the exams and they're able to join whatever school they'd like.
That's amazing. On the resources bit, how are you able to access the resources, the materials that you need for the purposes of teaching your kids?
Okay, so one thing I like about ACE, the curriculum that we do, the books are, the book that the child uses is also his learning book, so you don't have to buy textbooks separately. So the book is the textbook and it's also the workbook. And they're readily available so long as you are, you know, you can buy them online because it's an American curriculum. You can buy them online and ship them. There are people who ship them in and you can access them from those people. For CBC, you can also just go to our education centers and our curriculum, I think it's called Kenya Body of Curriculums or something, and get the list of, you know, this is what a child should be doing in grade 1. Go to the bookshop and just buy the books. Some homeschool groups also will be able to provide you with the material that you need. Then you can buy the books that you need to use. Yeah.
Also on the matter of socialization, I know this is a very common notion that homeschool children do not know how to socialize. What is your opinion on that, and what do you think about it? Okay,
so if ever there was a reservation I had about homeschooling, I think that was one of them. I was worried that, oh, how will my child socialize and interact with people, until I met a homeschooling family and they had homeschooled their children until high school, and now their children were in university, and they told me children are socialized from home. It is not a school thing. And I'll give you an example. I have a 1.5-year-old and he's able to speak 1 or 2 words. Now he has not been to school and he knows that if he calls me mom and he says a few things, we will be able to communicate. The nanny is there, his brother is there, his aunties, uncles, cousins, and it's family that actually helps children to be able to socialize. It is not, I don't think it's school. It doesn't come from school. It actually comes from home. Just continue to interact with your children, and you live in a community, expose your children to the community. If it's in the neighborhood, if it's church, there's so many ways that your children can socialize outside of being in traditional school. Yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, there's also some children who have gone to school, but they do struggle with socializing with other people. So it may be a personality thing also. So yeah, I mean, you don't need traditional school to be socialized. You just need to be around people. Yeah.
So we want to know, what are there challenges in homeschooling, and if there are, what are some of the challenges? Okay,
challenges. I think I would say one of the challenges I continue to face, I think, is just finding extracurricular activities that sometimes can be just for one child. Some places you find they want to do it as a group. And yes, I can get a group, but sometimes I just want to do it just with my child on their own. Secondly, you have to actively look for the community. If you're not part of a community, the journey becomes lonely, it becomes very difficult, you don't have someone to bounce off ideas from. So that can also be one of the challenges if you're homeschooling without a community. Yeah, I think that's it. I think for me, those are the only 2 things I think most homeschoolers would face. Maybe just finding extracurricular activities that best suit one child or 2 children, and also just building the community, because you have to actively build the community. Yeah.
I would want to know, what has been the most rewarding part of your homeschooling journey?
Okay. I think watching my child learn, that has been so beautiful for me, and also for me learning as well. I'm not a trained teacher, as I said. So there's a lot of things about my own personality that I have learned just based on teaching my child. And also just learning that this is his learning style, and this is how he absorbs information, and being part of that journey of seeing how, his growth every day from the time, because he has not been to regular school. We're going into our 4th school year, and we've been doing it on our own. So imagine me teaching from someone who did not know what letter A looks like, to know what A looks like, to know how to write it, to know how to sound it, to put it in a sentence. It's been very beautiful, and for me, I feel like that has been the most rewarding thing actually in my whole life, just to be part of my child's formative learning. Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up, what is one fun thing that you do with your kids midst learning session to just steam off?
I like to joke a lot, so just making jokes of the small learnings that we're doing. And as I said, homeschooling is not just learning in the classroom. It is exposing your child to more than just the classroom. So even just doing the activities that we do in the house, we can be baking, and I'll use that as a learning opportunity. We're using 1 cup, we're using half a cup, we're using that much. So that is something fun that we do. And even just learning different skills. The beauty about homeschooling is it doesn't lock you in a box. I feel like sometimes traditional school, based on just how the learning system is, it prepares you for a workforce of a desk and a chair most times. But for homeschooling, I feel like we can learn anything. So, I mean, we've gone to do pottery with my son, we've done woodwork, we've done painting, just so that he's able to know there's more to life and you can do all these activities. If he tells me he wants to start a business, I'm able to support him by, buying the material, and we keep trying. So that has been fun, just doing different things that look like they're day-to-day activities, but we're still learning in the process. Yeah.
So as we wrap up, what would you say to a parent who's been probably curious or skeptical about starting homeschooling for their kids?
I think the one thing I would say is God didn't just give us children just to, rear them. He gave us children to be able to teach them. So anything that you're doing for the good of your children, I think God will give you the grace to be able to do it. And you have nothing to lose. You will never regret having tried to teach your child something. So if you want to homeschool, I feel like it's something that you should, enter in 2 feet in. It's very easy to walk out on it because it can be a bit difficult. Because, it's something new for you. We've all gone to regular school. Unless you are homeschooled, then it's easy for you to, get into it. But if you went to traditional school, it's a new thing for you. So trying to figure out, like, am I doing the right thing? But so long as you know that you're wanting the best for your children, there's no harm in trying. And you'll enjoy it. And just do it with an open mind and an open heart. There's always a chance to succeed in it.
Sure.
Thanks
for your time.